galala. All the students no cause casala. For this dance you don't do shagara. Oh yeah, money, like that. To your hand, to the road.
Talking about culture and how it impacts our communication styles, and eventually how it's going to affect the kind of pharmacists we're going to be in the future. So we'll start off by introducing ourselves and where we're from. My name is Faustina Boayem-Ponsim, and I am from Ghana. Chris?
Chris from Nigeria.
Futsum from Ethiopia.
Kimi from South Korea.
Kimberly from Ghana.
Tenzin Singh from Tibet.
Amakanwachukwu from Nigeria.
So the first thing that we're going to talk about is where, if we first off went to high school in the United States or not, and if you didn't go to have an education or high school education here, talk a little bit about the structure of the education system where you're from. So.
Okay, I can start off.
Personality, please.
I grew up in Ghana. I didn't come to the United States till I was 16, going on 17. So the structure back home is you go through elementary school, which we call primary school, which is like kindergarten through 12th grade. Then you go to junior secondary school and senior secondary school. So all these I did back home, and the system there is 6 years approximately of elementary school. Then you go through
GSS.
Junior secondary school for another 3 years. Then you go through another 3 years of senior secondary school.
Which is like high school.
Yeah, which is is similar to the high school system here.
I said I'm from Nigeria. You can see the flag here. That's my creativity. Anyways, back in Nigeria, similar to Ghana, like Kimberly said, we have kindergarten through 6th grade, and that's our primary school. And that we also have the junior secondary school, which is like JS 1 to 3, and that's middle school, equivalent in the US. And then we also have senior secondary school 1, 2, 3, and that's like the high school. But basically, background is we do everything together in primary school. When it comes to junior secondary school, there are general classes that everybody does. And when it comes to the senior secondary school part, we have tracks that we follow. Is either art or science. So if you're science-based, you're not doing classes together with the art people. And I know that's different from what obtains here. Then again, the long history that we have of military rule and hardship makes people not think about just attaining a senior secondary school certificate and that's it. You're kind of, it's more like an expectation that you go on to college, unlike what we see here. And college back home, that is Nigeria basically, you pay out of pocket. There's no financial aid. And that means that if you're getting into school and somebody is sponsoring you, you better get the results if you need to go on. So if you don't get good results, somebody can stop, sponsoring you, and that's it for you. And you cannot make it further. So that kind of makes people want to be competitive and try to produce the results, because that's what will keep you going, basically. That's the nature of the education that we had.
It's quite similar.
Is the SS track, the art and the science, the same thing?
It's like, by the time you're done with JSS, you do this big exam, and you don't get to go to the high school you want to. Well, you could if you have the money
college
to
here,
pay
right?
Underground and go to the best school. If you have money, you can get to the best school with bribes. But if you are not, then you know that your knowledge has to carry you through to the end. And so you have to get the best results in your exam to be given, then you are assigned to a school depending on your grades.
Right.
To the senior secondary school or high school, equivalent to the high school here. And then
To college from the senior secondary school, you have to take like an exam called JAM.
It's the most difficult exam.
yeah.
It's very, very hard, and people usually don't make it to the cutoff for the specific professions that you want to go into. And back home, it's not a profession if it's not medicine.
Yeah.
If it's not
Or
pharmacy.
Yeah.
If
being
it's
a
not
lawyer.
law. If it's not business, professional, degrees that people look onto. Everything else is regarded as nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
Because they want you to aim for the best.
Right. For Himi, I guess from going from elementary school to junior high to high school,
Yeah.
is that free education
Yeah,
as
free
well, or do you have to
education.
pay?
Free education because education up to high school is mandatory,
Okay.
and university you have to pay. Yeah, and or free. I mean so I said up to high school is mandatory, is free for only public schools. But if you wanna go to like
Better school.
private school, then you have to pay a lot.
Yeah,
As I said, I'm from Tibet, but I was born in India. We have 100,000 Tibetan refugees in India. So basically, I did my schooling in a Tibetan refugee camp. The school is basically sponsored by either Indian government or through foreign donors. So Indian education system is primarily British created influence.
Okay, so then let's all go around the table again, and everybody, I guess based off of what we all just said about the art or the science track, we're all gonna say, if you did get an undergraduate degree, what your undergraduate degree is.
I can go. I didn't get my undergrad degree back home, right? No, not here.
Here or back home.
Okay, back home I started computer science,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't finish it. Just
Okay.
came here, and then here undergrad I did clinical lab science.
I did chemistry here. At the U.
I graduated from university in South Korea. My major was literature, but I went to I went to university again in the United States and study chemistry.
Okay.
Yeah, I been on the science track for a long while. Yeah, so I finished high school back home in the sciences. So I came here and continued, and I got a degree in biomed.
I have a degree in Bachelor of Science in India. After coming here, I did my prerequisite for PharmD course at Minneapolis Community and Technical College.
Yeah.
How about you?
Okay, I got my bachelor's of science from University of Nigeria. It's in Nsukka campus. That's in Enugu State. I got it in food science and technology.
Mm-hmm.
Came here 6 years ago. Got my prerequisites in University of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I have a degree in economics from Nigeria, and I also studied pre-med in Nigeria, but I came over here and I have a degree in biology.
So now we're going to talk about how we learn and how we're taught in the classroom. So in Ghana, how we're taught, I don't know if it's different for you guys. There's no PowerPoint. There's no internet to go post any notes online for you to go print off and bring to class. Basically, the professor comes in, we have the first little section of class, we have like an hour break, and then we come back to the second session of class. So in between our breaks, the teacher that's after the break, he comes in, he writes all the notes that we're gonna be taking on the board for the day, and it's your responsibility to make sure that you have that information. So whether you wanna take notes now, or if you want to get it from somebody else, which most people aren't willing to do, it's up to you. So usually what I did is after our break, I'd come in about 30 minutes early to make sure that I started writing my notes on time, so that when the professor actually starts talking about it, I'm not like trying to write and listen at the same time.
Yeah, I think mine is similar to yours. Where in junior high, yeah, you had teachers writing down on the board.
Mm-hmm.
But
Blackboard.
Yeah, on the
with a
blackboard
chalk.
with a chalk. Yeah. But let's say that's like 10 years ago.
Wait, do you
I don't
think
know
it's
if-
changed
I
now?
don't think
so.
it's
I
don't think
changed
so.
very much, for sure.
Why back there is like blackboard, here is whiteboard? No, in our place too. Why blackboard?
Yeah, it's
We call
blackboard.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's the European thing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we go through a lot of chalk for sure. And
Yeah.
then you have fresh. When you have oh my
Oh,
God,
Yeah, they'll make you clean
Oh
it
yeah,
up.
you know
They'll
what?
make you clean it up.
It's opposite, right?
Yeah, then you have to be
Black
the one
board
to
and
go
the white
clean it
chalk.
up.
Yeah, it's
It's
whiteboard
whiteboard
and
and
black.
black marker.
Yes.
We coming from a health perspective. When you're wiping
The
out
chalk
like
dust.
all the
Asthma.
dust, the dust for people like me that are asthmatic, it was like hell.
We used whiteboard and black.
What are you trying to say?
We went to the rich girl
Yeah,
people's
rich,
school.
rich.
You're rich.
But our school was
I'm
rich
not-
as
Your dad is a doctor.
Right.
Your dad is a doctor.
Okay, they're trying to set
It's
himself
basically
apart.
because you went to a private school.
Yeah.
I went to a private school.
I-
It wasn't a
Yeah.
public school.
Yeah, me too.
My
Went to
school
private
was,
school, but
I guess, a little more above standard.
Wow. Okay.
I'm
Okay.
being humble about it.
You're old. He's being humble. This is humble.
thank you, Chris.
Thank you. What about you?
Yeah, we use PowerPoint slides.
In high school? In high school? Yes, Papa is
Really?
Yeah, but the lecture was not like teachers didn't speak like that fast, and they went slowly.
Very slowly.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's not like.
Even with the
school.
Papa slide?
Mm.
Oh, that's
I guess with the teaching very slowly and all that stuff. And I'll speak from the Ghana perspective again. They're really, people are very relaxed about time. There's really
Yeah.
not any.
Yeah.
There's no
Rush.
time constraints or anything like that. More of our school, she actually had been in, I think, Britain for like some time. Eventually, she got some of her friends to like donate computers to our school.
Oh,
So then we had the opportunity to learn how to use a computer.
computer.
But let me tell you how we learn how to use a computer. You go to class, and then they'll teach you how to get into like a Microsoft Word. You don't
The
you don't
system.
practice how to do Microsoft Word on a computer. They tell you when you go to the computer, they'll write it on the board, by the way. They'll draw the sign, what the start button is supposed to look like. Click the start button one time, and then you look for program. You click on program, and then you look for Microsoft Office. You click on Microsoft Office, then you go to Microsoft Word. And this isn't like you're on the computer practicing how to do this. They're
on the
telling you, which means you have to memorize how to go to Microsoft Office. Then, like after they've taught you, you go into the lab, the computer lab, and then practice.
I did computer science back home.
Mhm.
Thing is, it's in college though, and then we have like a lot of computers, no internet on it.
So it's Ferrari without
It's no
engine.
use. Basically, there is no use for it.
So Ferrari without engine.
Yeah, I remember for calculus, if you wanna read the book, there is only one book
Textbook,
for
yeah.
the whole.
Wait, how many
for the
people
whole-
were in the computer science? Are you talking
Computer
about computer
science
science program?
only is the program only is 95 students, but
And you
that
share one book?
that one book is not for only computer science.
The whole
It's for
school?
engineering.
Oh my god.
Everybody use one book, and then
So-
sometimes when you go reserve the book, get it, open it up.
And then they just are gone.
So you're gonna be on your own.
Tanzan or
Oh, yeah. In South Korea, there are many girls middle school, boys middle school, boys high school, girls high school. So I don't know why, but my parents want me to go to girls middle school and high school. So I'm kind of sick of being with girls. so now I'm in pharmacy school where most people.
Yeah.
girls.
Girls, yeah.
You're sick of us? Girl power.
My school is kind of like a boarding school, but it's like a big foundation. We have smaller 25 homes, which were fostered by a foster parent.
Mhm.
Basically, the rules are very strict though. So each day, 2 students will cook for whole students. So we have to turn
And
around.
how many are you having?
So in the first, in the smaller homes, we have like 40 to 50 students.
40 to 50 students,
Yeah.
okay.
So we basically do all
There
the,
were kids like in their cooking. Are you kidding me?
yeah, I can
Child
Really
labor.
great.
No wonder you can cook.
Child labor, yeah.
no, it's not a child labor. It's trying to make you,
Right,
make you like
Take
know how
care.
to take care of yourself.
right. But we laugh about these things,
Yeah.
but don't you think like it's helped us become
Who
like
we
the
are.
adults we
Yeah.
are right now?
So
So, but then it's like based off of all these like hardships and
Yeah.
stuff, the things that we're sitting here and we're talking about, like having to handwrite your notes, doing like
Yeah.
cleaning toilets and
Yeah.
all that
all
stuff.
the stuff.
Those are like hardships that we face.
Yeah.
Do you think in some ways like it's helped you grow, and now that like you're here in the United States, like do you think it helps you in some ways like face hardships a little bit better than you think that average person would?
Yeah, I think when what do you call it, the PowerPoint slides fail, when ITV doesn't work, I know I can always depend on my pen and paper because I've had a pen and paper in my hand for longer than I've had a laptop in my hand. So
True.
I definitely know how to take good notes
Mhm.
when I feel like taking good notes. That is, you have to have the motivation to do that for sure. And I think with the hardships and things coming so little, like having a textbook is such a gift, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, because this
With
textbook,
the page
you
that
cannot
you
take
need
it
in it.
home. It belongs to the school and you share it with like your classmates. So you have to be, it adds value to that book. And so it makes you appreciate more when you have something on your computer that you can just click and have anytime you want. So it makes things more meaningful now.
Mhm.
Coming from a different perspective, being that I went to a boarding school that is regimented and you're being told what to do and you cannot stand up and challenge the status quo,
Mhm.
it kind of makes me, well, not the definition of a good student here,
Mhm.
because basically
Yeah.
I only take down what I need
Mhm.
and I don't go that extra mile unless I have to force myself. Because I've been trained that way. It's been inside me for
Mhm.
so long, and I don't think outside the box basically unless I
Right.
have to put in the extra effort. If you know what I mean. Notes, you read it, just cram it all up, go spit it out in the exam, make those good grades because it's expected. Otherwise, you won't get your education funded. And you get your name posted if you make it to the top 10.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that kind of spurs a competition in everybody because you want to make it to that top 10 to kind of show that you're doing a good job, that you're
Everyone
smart,
talks
Yeah.
about
and
it.
everyone wants to, like you because of that. But if you don't make it to that top 10, then well,
Yeah, everybody wants to be your friend because
Right.
like you're.
And you get a lot
Yeah.
of girlfriends. I remember when you make
Chris and his
I
girlfriend.
always used to try to make it, and I'm always there. So when you come like first 5,
All the
all
girls.
the girls are
try to
always
holla.
after the guys.
So you studied hard to make
Get
many
girls.
girlfriends.
That was
That's
20%. The other
Expensive.
80% was to make my parents proud of me.
Yeah. If somebody is going to discipline you, you're disciplined in front of everybody. Like there's no okay, your grades are bad. You got 8 out of 10 on the exam, so we'll call you in the back room and then we'll talk to you how to improve. No, there's none of that. Instead of coming to you to be like, you didn't do so great. You need what resources can we provide for you to do better? You have to be the one to find your own resources. And I come here and the second semester that we took Dr. Ferguson's biochem, and it's like everybody was complaining about, oh, there's no notes. You have to write your notes on your own and all that stuff. And I'm like, this is great because it helps me remember a lot more when there's like that reinforcement. Because it's like I'm sitting in class, I'm fully focused. Like this is why I'm here. I'm here to take notes. But then it's like when you're given the notes and everything is in front of you, you become a lot more passive about it. Like, well, I don't need to listen. I don't have to take notes because I can go back to the lecture later and re-listen, or I can just study what's in front of me and rest assured, like that's what they're gonna test you on.
I think one thing that we did not mention before too is the kind of teaching that we have. Like back home, the teacher is the law pretty much. In the room, he's the leader. What he says is what goes. Yeah, he's never wrong, and you just learn to listen to him and write everything he says and so that you can regurgitate it when it comes down to the exam. And you never question the teacher.
Okay,
Yeah.
Himi's having a little different reaction with this discipline than apparently the rest of us are. So tell us about
Yeah, how they do
you
it.
and how things are done in.
How do you get disciplined? Do you get disciplined by your teachers at all?
Oh, I mean, like if there are students who like to talk loud, like instead of like listening to teacher, then yeah, the
What kind of
What kind
discipline
of
you
discipline? Do they get
What?
yelled
Yeah.
at?
What's their form of discipline?
just calling your mom.
I'll share my perspective on the competition,
Mhm.
because you guys said that your school's like so much, there's so much competition.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about my school, but based on what I think right now is that we were not competitive,
Mm-hmm. How so?
because we were taught as like each of the students are our brothers or
Mhm.
sisters.
Okay.
So we were taught to look after each other instead of like
Oh.
fighting,
Compete with each
competing
other.
with each other. That's what I think I'm not so competitive.
Kafa.
No, based on that, because over there, and about the grade system, you guys, let's say that if you have like top of the school, then you guys were like famous.
The best,
Yeah,
yes.
the best.
In-
You get
in my
special
school-
seating.
In my school, okay, obviously the teacher's gonna like those who are the top, right?
Mhm.
Who gets good grade. But I think the teacher likes the student more if he's good student. Like even if he's not like respectable, like quiet, who don't do like the foolish stuff, and in our
Disrupt
school,
the class.
and I mean we don't disturb the class at all.
Cause
So-
Everybody's quiet.
We were already so quiet.
Mm.
So basically, if you are top of the class and you're loud and you're arrogant, even teachers won't like you.
Mm-hmm.
Let alone like the girls liking you. Okay.
So that affects the definition of good
Good
student.
student,
Because
yeah.
wherever you come
Yeah.
from makes
Yeah.
that definition a
Yeah.
little bit different.
Yeah.
So then, in everybody's minds, based off of like your educational background and how you're taught, what do you think a good student is? Or I guess you can compare it from whatever country you're from and compare it to here, like how a good student is defined.
Well, from my perspective, I feel like my background here, I think a good student is one that strives for the best. They are always learning. They are not always like satisfied where they are. The students, being the word, is a learner, and so they strive for the best, and they are always working to be better. You know, they don't accept where they are. So learner is a long term learner.
So going off of what we heard in class, good student here going through the American culture is someone that is outspoken in class, asks all the good questions, goes to the professor after class and tries to be familiar with the professors. But back home you don't have that opportunity.
Nobody cares. if you know
You're
the
actually you're discouraged to do that basically.
Mhm.
You do what you're told, and how dare you challenge the teacher in class because you want to ask questions you think are good.
Basically, trying to be an
Basically-
oversabi, which is like a know-it-all.
Basically, you just sit down in class quietly, take down whatever information you're given, and produce the results. That's the definition of a good student back home. You do what you're told, you study hard, cram
Get
it all
good
up,
grades.
get good grades, and you're good to go.
Yeah, good grades, that's the main thing. And if you ask too many questions, people look at you as a dumb actually.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you don't
Mhm.
just keep asking
Right.
questions, but they're
Because
like,
that
oh,
you can go study in your notes.
exactly. They think,
Mhm.
oh, you're not prepared for class,
Yeah.
or you don't know what the teacher is
Right.
saying, stuff
And
like
if you
that.
do have those burning questions, you have the older students to go to ask, but
Right.
you don't go to the professors basically.
Mhm.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
here in South Korea. If you ask stupid questions, then people will not like you.
Yeah. To me, even though I didn't really have like too much time in Ghana, like learn education wise, I still carry that around. I'm a very outspoken person, but not when it comes to my education. When I'm in class, if I have a question, probably this entire pharmacy school career, I've asked like 3 questions in class. I don't ask questions because I know if something comes up later, I can always go look it up on my own. Going through undergrad here and all that stuff, there are times where like in some of my chemistry courses, like I for sure was struggling, but it made me nervous to actually like go to a professor like, oh my gosh, this is like the professor. It's a big deal to be like, I'm going to the professor to ask a question. I'd never like feel it doesn't make me comfortable to do those things. So to me, when people are defining good students, like Amaka said here, is the person who's outspoken, who asks questions in class, who tries to be familiar with the professor and all that stuff. It makes me a little bit nervous because in my mind, I'm like, I'm a good student. I do my work. I try to get involved. I get the grades. I do everything I can to prepare myself to be that great student and the successful pharmacist in the future. But then it seems like at the end of the day, that's not how everybody else sees it. The grades don't even matter at all.
And then adding to that, there's another perspective to it. Back in Nigeria, it's all about respect, right? People like their titles. If you're a doctor, if you're a professor, if you're a chief, you get
like it's like whoa.
You don't even go close to them, and you have to, when you're greeting them, you have to put that title. Like you can't just come to let's say Dr. Straka and say good morning, Bob. That's not acceptable.
No.
You have to address them by titles because respect is everything to them.
Right.
And that creates that wall.
It creates a barrier.
You're looking at them because they're up here.
And you're down here.
So,
but here, that's not how it is. Like you can just go to a professor. Everybody is basically seen on the same level. And professors, I know they want us to be able to approach them, but because of like my cultural background, it's very, very hard for me to do it.
Yeah, you can imagine my shock when a student, challenges the teacher's thinking or the teacher's answer. The teacher's, it's like, the teacher is supposed to be knowing all, like, you're learning from them and they have the knowledge. So it's hard for me especially when they don't do it correctly in my mind, like respectfully with my mind, when they challenge them right in front of everybody in class rather than maybe approaching them, which is something I would have done if I had the nerve to do rather than in front of everybody.
We don't have issue though challenging like whoso it is. The way you challenge it is an issue though.
It's an issue.
How you challenge it. I mean, you can challenge it based on, giving respect to the other though. But sometimes like it seems here like so you should filter some of stuff that you shouldn't. You should try. That's what I think.
That's like the cultural shock I got when I came here because I was so quiet, do my job, don't speak to the instructors. But everybody was raising their voice, they're asking questions and interacting and stuff. And even on job interviews, I was just quiet and tried to be humble.
Humility.
And I don't do the job. But you learn from that, and then you learn how to raise your voice and how to say I can do this.
So basically, you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone.
You have to do it
here. Yeah, in my culture, if you are good, you don't press yourself.
Yeah.
The others gonna press for you.
If you're quiet and then respectful, somebody
and humble,
somebody will notice. Even the teacher will notice.
Which comes to it now when we have, especially in some of our classes, that requires us to be reflective, to think inside ourselves, to tell something of ourselves.
And
it's
we're
so
like,
hard because, as you said, people are supposed to see it. You show it. You do it. You do not speak of it. That's how it goes.
And going over to communication styles, I believe, I'll talk on myself. I'm not going to say it's for everybody. I'm more than laid back when it comes to communication, trying to push myself out of that right now. But I'm not the first to talk when there's like a team group. Well, we're not even exposed to team work back home. It's usually individualized. So when you're in a team, I won't be the first to talk. I won't be the first to initiate whatever we're going to do. But I'm sitting back there, thinking it through my head, doing it individually like I'm used to, before I'm able to put forth whatever I have. But you don't see us like talk loudly in that kind of setting.
To do that.
What about you, Himi? In
I
terms
used
of
to
what
be-
you think a good student is and like how you communicate.
Good student. ask good questions during the class and have good grades. So I used to ask lots of questions during the class and after class, like until I before I enter pharmacy school. But here I'm not that motivated because there are so many things going on. So I just, yeah.
For me, I'm a good student. That's why I'm in pharmacy school. That's why I'm doing all this stuff.
Okay. Chris, what about you? How do you define a good student?
I already said students with good grades. Yeah, I guess you ask good questions, you're respectful. That's like one of the biggest things. Yeah.
How does that affect your communication style?
My communication style, I guess, like you said, I'm not going to be the first person to, like,
Bring up an
bring up
idea.
a discussion. I probably know what I'm thinking about, but I'm doing it right in my mind.
So
like
basically that individualized.
individualized kind of thing, yeah. But I'm always respectful of people. Like, I need to know what everyone is thinking. I cannot impose my idea on anyone. Everyone has to be on the same page. I need to listen to what everyone has to say.
Yeah.
And if someone doesn't make sense, I tell you don't make sense. But everyone has to come to a conclusion. I don't like when just one person does everything and then no one is involved. So I like to
So
involve
then
everyone.
we all took the communication styles quiz that we talked about in class, and how did everybody, how were you ranked? Like, what did you fall in, S, E, L, or F?
I got an S, but I don't agree that I'm an ace person, cause I don't think I'm
Yeah, some of the things in S are like persuasive. Some of the strengths are you're persuasive, risk taker, competitive, persuades change, confident, socially skilled, inspiring, open, direct, and outgoing.
I don't think I'm a directive person.
You don't think so?
Yeah.
So E, the strength of E is practical, orderly, very direct, self-determined, organized, traditional, goal-oriented, dependable, economical, and ambitious.
Yeah, that's definitely me.
Okay, L is team-oriented, caring, devoted, enthusiastic, helpful, accessible, trusting, sensitive, a good listener, likes variety, and a peacemaker. And F is somebody who's exact, thorough, factual, reserved, meticulous, practical, calm, has high standards, and a risk avoider. So I guess so Chris
Let's
started
start
off
with
with Himi. Himi, what did you get on your score? What category did you fall under?
S.
Do you, from your own perspective, do you think you fall under?
No.
What do you think you would be? Do you think you're more of an L or an F?
Maybe L.
L?
Yeah.
Who? Okay.
Because I like to listen to others better than like speaking.
So just to be clear, you don't have to have all
Yeah.
the strengths or the
Right.
weaknesses,
Yeah.
but if you have like the majority of it, say 75%, that's good enough.
Majority of things under S.
It's not-
That's
Yeah.
there was an S too, and I think that's me. Like
No.
that's totally me. I'm a very competitive person. Risk taker, not so
No.
sure. I don't think I'm a risk taker. Persuasive, I can be sometimes. When
You're competitive. and
confident, yes,
and very outgoing.
very social.
That one I can understand.
And then who was E?
Yeah,
You
you too.
Was that an E? Oh, yeah.
You answer, yeah.
Who? So
Oh, I was an E.
okay. So do you guys think you
Yeah.
fall like that is your communication style?
Yeah, I would say that's an E for
Practical,
orderly,
orderly,
for most
very
part.
direct,
Yeah,
self-determined,
yeah.
organized, traditional.
I agree.
Yeah, some
Kim's
levels of it
very
is-
you're very organized because the times I've worked with you this semester, I've actually appreciated it. She gets things started on time, and then it's like,
You're
oh,
not-
we can all fall into
you're
it
not
and all that
organized.
stuff.
Who
Who's
is not
L?
organized?
Me.
Who's
I don't think I'm an E. I think
I
I'm
think-
more of an L.
Yeah, me too.
That's what I think. I think I'm an
But I don't know, but based on the work, I mean, like you work a lot, so I don't think you're organized. So maybe it is affecting that way, or you are generally very organized, or
Chris is not organized in
Yeah, you're not
general.
organized.
Funny enough, that's the way I was
yeah, dependable
in
and
my
work.
high school. That my whole high school, that's the way they treated us. You know, they have to direct us. Oh, at this time you guys have to be here. Someone is going to come take all of us there. At this time you have to be here. Someone's going to come take us there. So
Made you very dependable.
funny thing is that I can be organized if I want to.
If you want to,
If I
rarely.
You put your mind
If
to
I
it.
want to, yeah. If I put
Okay,
my mind
who's
to
an
something, I
who's
do.
an L?
I am an F, but I think my scores were on the borderline between
L
F
and
and
F.
L. So, and I definitely see myself in both. I don't have all of them in each of them. So
You being dull, shy, or
You're definitely not shy.
yeah, you're sociable, and I see you as meticulous for sure, and
Calm
also
for sure.
has
Yeah.
high standards for sure.
It's
As
fancy,
risk
right?
avoider,
I'm
I
F
don't
too.
think so. I think
Yeah.
I
even
don't dance this for sure. It's not
I
too
know
bad.
even
Oh, yeah,
in
this
our
one is
classes
not
and
too
stuff,
bad.
and
You
from
guys-
the school, taking a lot of risk. I mean, even with your family, with coming to family school and, you know, everything else, you know, that you're doing right now, I think
Do you think
those
I'm
are
very
risk
dull?
rather than.
I know I'm not
When
slow
you're in
to
my
get
company,
things
you
done.
need-
Yeah, I
you
know
need,
I'm
you
supposed to
need
get
time.
things
That's
done.
just
Yeah, yeah,
that's why I know that
Okay,
I'm like between F and L.
let me
Yeah.
let me say what I think about my rating. F, I totally agree with it.
Me too.
I'm very thorough
Yeah.
because
Very.
in my culture it says it's better to be an expert in one than jack of
Jack of
Jack
all
of all
trades.
yeah, than
Yeah.
the what is the jack of all trade and expert.
Master of none.
Master of
Yeah,
Master
master
of
of
none,
none, yeah.
master of none.
Yeah, so we want to master in one
One
than
thing.
jack of all trades. So it's like that. So reserve, yes, in school or even in a community, if you stay quiet or behave well, and if you don't mingle with those, like go everywhere with other students, like go do
With the
those,
masses.
yeah, masses, you consider good boy. So I'm very reserved that way because there's this societal expectation and benefit. So meticulous, yes, just like thoroughness. Calm, maybe because I'm like reserved, I stay calm. High standard, I think so. Risk avoider, definitely.
Definitely.
You really are.
Don't like trouble.
Yeah, slow to get things done, yes.
Yes.
In our school, we have a lot of time. We are not competitive. We are not taught being competitive. We are taught being brother. They take a time and help each other. So we are very slow in things done. So dull, maybe you guys perceive as dull.
Perfectionist, no.
Perfectionist.
You-
I-
Yeah,
when
but
you
it
say
gets
so,
things
and I
done.
do,
Now when I think so.
Shy and passive, yeah, kind of like, I
Yeah.
agree with those. I think I'm totally into F. You guys can disagree with me.
No.
Yeah.
We agree.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I give it my E. It's not like a concrete E because I have like, I'm an E when I'm surrounded by
Can I say that?
familiar things, when I am with people that I know love me and family and friends that know me. So then I can be my E at the most. But then when I go into a new place, I definitely become like an F.
I'm an S wherever I go.
So are we talking about
In-
limitations?
I'm totally F.
In
Both.
in my
Yeah.
home,
No
in
limitation.
school, at church, wherever I go, I guess I'm always the social and
Butterfly.
outspoken one.
Who is an S? Firstly.
I am.
So the limitations.
Really? We're focusing on our positives, not our negatives.
Dominating.
Yeah, push.
You think I'm
Push.
okay, I'm very pushy because
Pushy.
if you're a persuasive
Manipulating.
person,
Manipulating.
I would think I'm manipulative. My sister
Reactive.
says it. Oh my gosh, I react.
Reactive.
Restless.
I'm not restless.
Impatient.
Yes.
You think I'm impatient?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
You think so?
yeah, you are.
Do you guys think I'm impatient?
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
I
know
am.
you. I know
Yeah,
you.
because it's like when things, I hate it when things have to be done, and that's when people want to use that as an opportunity to kind of do their own thing. Like, 9 o'clock means 9 o'clock. Be here, be ready, let's go. It's not 9 o'clock, now I'm about to get ready.
I think I don't agree with mine. This is like direct opposite of me, man.
I don't think so.
L
I
makes
think
no
I'm-
sense.
Do you think you're borderline?
Yeah, I think
I
I'm
was
L. I
very
think I'm more like L.
weak as
You're weak
Yeah,
as
yeah.
into
very
the
close
E.
to the.
You see,
just-
limitations for L. Indecisive.
Yes.
That's me.
Impractical? No. Vulnerable, yes. Hesitant, definitely. You're very hesitant.
You're wondering.
Chris, you are.
I think it's
I
borderline
like
L.
variety.
You're very other oriented. Like you want other people, like you participate, but other people have to like do the rest of it.
Yeah, like
But I think, I wonder if other women.
if I'm doing my
might-
thing, then I
might
do my
be
thing. But
also
once the
that
group is
they
involved, then I just
take care of
know
other
that-
people, like they think about other people.
Really? I don't
I don't
think
know,
so.
I'm not quite sure about what the other oriented means.
Okay.
But in my mind, that's what I thought, they think first of the others
Yeah, that's
before
what I
they think
thought.
of themselves.
Okay.
So
All
that's
right.
how I
Back
see
on
it.
track.
Okay.
Back on track.
Yeah,
Back on track.
that's-
So we've talked about our communication styles. We talked a little bit about our background, like our cultural and educational backgrounds. We've talked about what in our minds is a good student. And we also, one thing we didn't talk about though is how we study.
How we study, take notes.
Now
and
here and
study.
back home. How do you study here?
I think my study has, the way I study has not changed much.
What's
From
your
what I did
study
back
style?
And which means you take good notes and you read them and you make sure you read them at least 3 times and you understand them. And if you don't understand, you find sources to help you understand, like fellow students, like the internet, but usually it doesn't mean going to the teacher and asking the teacher to explain it to you. You find ways to understand before the exam.
Okay, well,
pretty much.
okay. So anybody can also jump into like how do you prepare for an exam?
Now here I'm really spoiled and they give me everything, all the notes. They'll tell me where the exam is gonna be and then they'll make sure, they'll say like study this and it's gonna be on the exam. And then you don't really have to do anything else, you just study that and go and then get good grades. And then basically my study style was just memorize the whole PowerPoint slides. And then
You
you'll be
like to
fine.
study by yourself in
Yeah,
very
by
quiet
myself.
place, yeah.
Because you need to
actually, I need like a loud
No,
place,
you know,
especially
you're not
like
quite
Without
coffee shop.
distraction, yeah.
we studied at coffee
Yeah,
shop.
Yeah.
that's where I like study. I need to
Yeah.
hear something.
Yeah, so you don't
Yeah.
drift away
Yeah.
to sleep.
I study by memorization. Sometimes I try to take the time to understand why things are the way they are. I don't think
You don't
that
have
back
time,
home
though.
we're not
Yeah.
taught to understand why. It's like when you do a science and experiment, when you combine this and this color, it turns this color. Nobody explains to you why it turns that color. You're just supposed to accept that it does turn that color.
Even if
So,
you have not seen
Even
it
if you've
before.
never really seen it before. So here, that's the exact same approach I still have up to this day. Is pharmacology, biochem, everything. I memorize my way through everything. I don't try to learn this, you don't need to know this, you need to know that. I don't do any of that. And it's basically like memorize it and then come spit it out on the exam. So then to me, taking like objective exams where it's like true false, A, B, da 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 da. I don't know. I still do good in school, but I still kind of struggle.
Yeah.
I'd rather I get tested on
Concepts.
concepts than on A, B, C, D.
And do you think that is because back home you had exam questions as essay
Yeah.
questions
Yeah.
rather
Yep.
than objective?
Yeah.
So the way back home for us is,
We never thought how
We-
to take an exam.
yeah, I mean, you don't really have more than 6 questions on an exam, and then they'll give you like 10, 20 pages.
Yep,
you'll
and then you
fill
have
that
like
up,
3
easy.
hours to do it.
And then you'll just drain out whatever you know, and then put it on that paper, and then the instructor will grade you based on what you know.
Mhm.
It's not based on what you memorize, because sometimes they'll ask you something that they didn't teach,
Mhm.
that they didn't mention in class, and then you just have to figure it out and do it. But here it's like different.
What
If
it is
you
is what it is.
memorize it,
It will
then
show up.
exactly the words you will see it on the exam, and then you'll be good to go.
What about you guys?
Yeah, me, I memorize, but my learning comes from my work experience. I think that's where I learn most of this stuff. But writing exams, I just memorize my way.
I don't like memorizing without understanding.
And there's no time to memorize
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
understand.
Understand.
That's a difficult
Taking
part.
18 credits
Yeah.
and then trying to
Yeah,
understand the same
that's
thing,
right.
memorizing, it's really
It makes it
hard.
very, very
Very
difficult.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, because your learning style has not really changed to match what it is here.
Mhm.
And here's, and you don't have that enough time to be memorizing
Right.
how many pages of
Yeah.
PowerPoint slides, even though the notes are available and you didn't have to write the notes, but still, for you to memorize, you need to rewrite.
Mhm.
You need to rewrite at
There's
least
just
3
not enough
times for
time.
you to memorize. And if you don't understand, for me, it's hard for me to memorize if I don't understand. So I have
Yeah,
to
me
find an
too.
understanding first.
So coming
So
into
the-
pharmacy school, Google has been my best friend. I just
Yeah.
Google everything out.
Yeah,
basically, if I
thank
need to
God for the
understand
internet.
it.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
I still memorizing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the good thing back home is they won't fill the gap when they teach you. They'll just
Leave the
give you some information here and won't give you the
You're
whole
supposed to
thing.
put two
You
and
have
two
to,
together.
yep, you have to fill it up and understand it, and that's a good way of learning, I guess.
Yeah, in a way, because it forces you to find a way
Find a way
fill
to
it
do it. Yeah,
So
I mean
I
we don't
understand.
have the resources that much, but you will find it somehow,
somehow. Yeah.
and you have to figure it out.
Tenzin, what about you?
Mine is like a lot of comedy. Okay, basically in the school, right, before college is the school. So basically teacher will write down the question answer, we take it down and then memorize it. We basically memorize it and write the same answer in the exam, that's it.
Okay.
So it's just like, cause I think in the 3rd grade or 4th grade, carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide,
Mm-hmm.
it's so difficult to pronounce. So I basically memorized like C carbon dioxide, like spell. I don't know what carbon dioxide was. So basically I memorized and I wrote it in the exam. You know what is photosynthesis? The process of a plant taking oxygen in and making food or releasing carbon dioxide. No, oxygen, no, carbon
Yeah.
dioxide and
Mhm.
releasing
Oh,
oxygen. Teacher said, very good. So basically that's the education system, right?
You don't understand it,
Yeah.
but you just put it out
Then
anyways.
in
Yeah, it's you feel, yeah.
Then you go into the undergrad, same stuff, teacher will just lecture you, you just need to take it down. It's verbally like give you presentation, so you take it down. So basically in the end of year, you just memorize it. If you don't have the information, there's one book that will be available in the library. Either you go there, take note, or you just borrow that book and make the whole book photocopy. I didn't know there was the what do you call the copyright violation. So we basically photocopy it and try to take note and then memorize it. It's so like foolish that even I would memorize like, you know, in the book there will be like definition and then they will give you example. I would even write in the exam like 4 examples. So basically that's my education system in there, because we were not guided properly. Because we put everything like, I believe like I put more than 100%. But
Yeah.
the direction was not there, how to study, how to take notes, or
How to think outside the box, how to be creative.
Yeah, creative. So that way in here, the option is, the people, all the, I mean, like lecturer, professors, or everyone says don't memorize it.
Mm-hmm.
Try to get the understanding.
do.
I try to understand it,
There is no time.
but the question, I mean, like, the exam time is like 50 minutes. So I understood it, and when I try to write it, the other student, the American student, will write in 1 sentence. I have to write in 4 sentences to present what my answer.
Is,
So that way I don't get enough time left by the end, like 15 minutes. So I often miss a lot of questions that way. So I felt it's better to now memorize it so that I see the same answer of questions. I just don't have to spend more than like 50
Right,
seconds. Yeah,
yeah.
so it's like that. So that's the issue I'm facing here. Like in between, I've not totally forgotten my, what do you call, the past, and I'm not totally adapted to the present. So in between, so that's the issue.
And
here.
challenge.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I don't like, especially in the school of pharmacy, the schooling system, especially the essay questions.
Yeah.
The instructor will tell you to understand it, and then on the exam you can just write it on your own words. But at the end, they're grading based on keywords, not your understanding. So it doesn't matter what you put there, as long as you don't have those keywords,
Yeah.
you get it wrong.
Yeah.
So basically, they're forcing you to memorize everything.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so
And
it
then-
works actually, but for me, I would say I do better in essay questions than I do in multiple
Same
choice
here.
for sure.
If there's
Yeah, but-
Especially if it's a pharmacology
But
multiple choice.
it's
'cause he writes
forcing
very
me
good.
to memorize now.
Yeah.
Not understand.
Not understand it.
Yeah.
Memorize all
Memorize.
those keywords. Just find out what the
Right.
keywords are. If you put those,
Then
you'll
you're
be fine.
fine.
Yeah.
That's true. So I guess to kind of wrap up, obviously we're all in pharmacy school. We're all third years. We're all going to be pharmacists pretty soon, and our cultural backgrounds has not just affected how we've approached pharmacy school in general, but it's also going to affect how the kinds of pharmacists we're going to be. I'm sure we're all going to be great pharmacists in our own way. How do you guys think, like, your communication styles, like what we just talked about, if you're an S, E, L, or F, and also, how do you think that's going to affect the type of pharmacist that you are in the future?
As I said, I don't think I'm an S person, but so when I think about me, when I think about myself, I think I will be more like culturally sensitive pharmacist. So like maybe I will I think I will be more like taking care of people who are from like different cultures. Yeah, try to help them. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Probably all of us are gonna be culturally competent, and we're gonna understand what people from other countries are going through, so we can help them. But for me, I'm an F person, so I'm more practical and thorough. So I believe in my way of doing pharmacy, I'll be more focused on helping the patient and then like going through each details and then trying to help them any way I can.
I'm an S. I'm definitely a doer. I'm definitely a persuasive person. If I don't see something going right with a process, I'm not always as now in my life, I don't think I'm as proactive as I've been in the past. There have been times in the past where I see something I don't like. I'm a very outspoken person, and you best believe I will let you know about it. But I've gotten to a point in my life where I'm very passive and very apathetic about a lot of things that are going on. But I've kind of realized that, and I think the type of pharmacist that I'm going to be is in my work, if I see something that's not working, I'm not going to hesitate to bring it up to make things better. Because I think everybody has their own strengths and their own weaknesses. Everybody brings something different to whatever jobs they're going to be, they're going to practice in. So I think that's, to me, what I'm going to bring to the table is to make sure that things are going right. If patients aren't responding well to a specific type of service we're providing for them, to not hesitate to bring it up and try to change things in that way. And of course, like being from a different cultural background, I feel like I'm a little bit more culturally sensitive, as Ihimi said before. So I understand when patients come to the window and the pharmacist is talking to them and they're just like, okay, do you have any questions? No. Because back home, that's exactly how it is. When your doctor writes your medication, you don't question what the medication's for. It's like, you have a headache, okay, this is your ibuprofen, go take it. And it's like, sure, take it 3 times a day, sure. Like, people aren't taught to question things, so I'm a little bit more sensitive about that. And when people are like, oh, this patient, he doesn't really care and all that stuff, like, I'm a little bit more understanding about it.
Yeah, as an E, a person who has the E communication style, I think I'm gonna try. One thing that is definitely true in this sense is that I'm dependable for sure, and I would like to be far-reaching than just be a patient. I mean, being the pharmacist, I would like to understand a person as they are, personality wise, or what drives them, or what is them, like what makes them them. Because in that way, it will make my work easier in, you know, tailoring medications to them, or medication therapies, or any plan that I may have for them. I don't. It said that limitation is being insensitive, but that I don't think applies to me at all. Because I feel like I'm really sensitive, and I try to understand. I'm maybe insensitive in a way that I, most times, which I need to work on, is not speak before I actually think things through before I speak out and let other people know. But for sure, I think being direct is gonna help me for sure, because I am gonna let you understand, and I'm gonna speak to you very directly and not
Beat around the bush.
Okay, Tenzin.
So I think I'm an L, so I'm just gonna go with that, and I'm just gonna, talk about my experience based on, the feedback I get from the patients I work with. So most of them, they think I'm caring. They think like, I'm very devoted to the work I do. And they also think that, I always listen to them. I always have this compassion.
You're a great listener.
I always think about them. They always feel like, oh, I have their best interest at heart, that kind of thing. And, I just think that, I'll be very good to my patients, listen to them, be compassionate, communicate well with them, and have, I'm going to be very cultural competent, cultural sensitive, and yeah, I even have a patient who always requests that I come talk to him whenever he needs his medication to be cancelled. That's just because he kind of trusts what I say, and he just trusts me.
What do you say to him?
I'm just myself.
Yourself?
Yeah, and for some reason, some people just like that,
Respond to that.
Yeah, and yeah, that's it.
Tenzin.
Okay, for me, I feel like my background has shaped who I am today. Basically, I can work in any pharmacy environment. I put my mind to it because I am very adaptable, given where I come from and all the hardship and what you've been put through. I'm very, very flexible. I can work with not just the patients, but also my colleagues, whatever personality they are, because I can fit in anywhere, given my flexibility and adaptability. And then one of my signature themes, and also my communication style, is I'm very empathetic. I can sense when somebody's in pain or when somebody is not saying something, and I'm able to help out in that kind of situation using my strength and being able to pull out what the person is going through and trying to get them to whatever health goal or outcome they want to get to. And coming to the competition part of it, it's also one of my signature things, but I think it's changed and evolved over time, not just competition against others, but against myself, trying to get better each time. Like I set a goal this high, and next time I do like a realistic check, and I'm like, I need to get higher. So I kind of try to make myself better every time and reflect on it each time. And I believe that is a very good quality to have. You don't see competition as a bad thing. It's actually a good thing because it makes you better.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
And
it's actually
important.
a very good thing that you want to be good in pharmacy because you don't want to kill people.
Exactly.
So I think that will also help me during my pharmacy practice, basically.
Tenzin.
So, as I said it earlier, F, so I totally agree with this F thing. Basically,
What pharmacy setting or where do you think you would thrive the most?
Compounding.
yeah, based on the limitation, I totally agree. I'm very slow to get things done, but I do it very very well. So I'm looking for a pharmacy where there wouldn't be much of like a
Stress.
not stress or time limit where you have to be time constraint. So I think if I get ample enough time, then I think I'll do things very good. So Probably, I don't know.
I'm
So,
thinking compounding or MTMs, because
Yeah,
those don't
something-
have a lot
something
of
like
time
that.
constraint to it.
and plus, I think I have this, what do you call, how should I say, a special thing? Because I understand compassion
You're
have,
very compassionate.
better than other people.
I have that too, so it's not special.
'Cause
It's
no,
very special.
No.
Tenzin
No,
is
I'm
special.
joking.
No.
different.
I'm joking.
You know, right? For us Tibetan thing, we have 1,005 years of history of being compassionate. It's not like within 1 or 2 years, or you're born like 15. Say like we're
So
like.
is it a genetic thing?
Yeah.
I'm just
So
saying.
that's
Yeah,
what I
Grow
thought.
up.
maybe it's in their genes.
No,
You never know.
That's what I'm thinking, because this quality can be a genetic factor, because we have been practicing like for 1,500 years, so we have this history. And we each and again, we kind of,
And that's
Take-
the way I've taught too.
yeah,
That's
there.
how.
So if I be I'm like, I'm definitely sure I'll go out of my way to help my patient. That thing I'm pretty sure. Based on the American Pharmacy Association online survey, some of the good recommendation for my job is like compounding pharmacies or the mail-in pharmacy, those
Mail
sorts,
order.
yeah, mail order
Mhm.
Right, you
pharmacies.
don't have-
So yeah,
So much time
Yeah,
constrained, and you
yeah,
get time to do
yeah.
things.
So
That's
I'll
good.
think about it.
So
I mean, everybody has their own,
Yeah.
limitations, but that doesn't mean you can't work on it and.
I'm sure I'm not gonna work where you have to like speak
Yeah.
level of retail.
like each and every time. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess this is the end of our discussion. It's been very great learning about everybody's different cultures. Obviously, there are some similarities between our respective cultures, and there certainly are some differences. I've learned so many things today about like some of you guys and all that. So it's been very pleasant, and hopefully other people watching this video are gonna learn something about our different cultures. This is Ghana,
Nigeria.
Ethiopia.
South Korea.
Tibet come, India come,
To
America.
the back, okay, what is the plan? I am meant to love your demands. Say you want to dance, you want for the money from my bank. Oh yes, scatter the ground. Got the baddest they been in town. When they see me around, they scatter they dance like clown. We have to go. We are so to do.